Welcome back, everybody. Today, we're going to focus in on the business side. We've been looking at how technology has been using AI agents to transform their work processes. Today, we're going to focus on the finance side in the CFO's world. And the example I'm going to walk you through is an interesting story. It is a mid-sized mortgage company that has a whole host of ledgers that they have to reconcile at the end of every month, just like every mortgage company does. Everything from escrows to the GL to the bank statements, etc. And they had a tough time with reconciling all of this because the data was coming in all kinds of different formats. And they actually had a massive manual process sitting offshore trying to do all this reconciliation. And it took them 3 to 4 weeks to close the monthly books. Obviously, that was not acceptable. And so they didn't want to add more headcount. So what they wanted to do was actually see if they could use AI agents to do some of this work. And it turns out that they can. I'm going to take you through an example of this and show you how they went from 3 to 4 weeks to actually being able to get it done in a week. And you'll see the agents at work. So let's dive right in. First thing we'll do is we'll pull up the agent and we will pull in a few of these ledgers that I have sitting here on my desktop and upload those into the agent. So you'll see the agent going through and processing and standardizing the files so that it can actually start analyzing and consuming them. And then we'll start the reconciliation process. As you watch the reconciliation happening here, you'll see that the AI is going through and making notations as it reads through line by line and compares what's going on in the file. So it will take some time across all of these. We've got the escrow ledger in here. We've got the loan servicing ledger in here. We've got bank statements. We've got cash ledger in here. And it'll go through and make those notations. Once it's done and it understands what's going on with the data, it then jumps into the reconciliation process. And it's doing this automatically. And it will try to find matches across the entire portfolio. And as it's finding matches, it will flag them. And where it can't find a match, it's going to highlight it in red. And so you'll see it just going through step by step in the process. And it finds a set of potential discrepancies. Now it's going to go through and just clear the transactions that it found matches for. And it's going to be able to reconcile those and move on. But then there's also a whole host of them that the match wasn't quite right. Maybe the account number was a little off, maybe the amount was a little off, or maybe it just couldn't find a match at all. So the first thing it's now going to do with all of these issues is that it's going to try and figure out how to auto reconcile them. And so I'll have it simply auto reconcile. And first thing it does is you'll see it goes through account by account and tries to combine all of the ledger entries that are related to that account. And so it's flipped over now into saying, okay, in this discrepancy number 1, I've got an amount mismatch, and I've got the cash ledger, I've got the bank statement, and I've got the general ledger. And I'm going to try and figure out, is there a auto reconciliation that can happen? And so we see here the discrepancy is that we've got a $2,500 on the cash and the GL, but we've got a $2,400 on the bank statements. And so we start looking at this and we see what the major issue here is, that we are $100 off between two different ledgers. And so it will go through and identify what it thinks the issue is. And if you agree with the issue, it will go ahead and reconcile that. So this one, we look at it, it says it's likely a $100 fee or some sort of short deposit scenario. So it will say, record this discrepancy, make a note in the financial statements, and move on. And so we'll go ahead and accept the resolution on that one. For the next one, we'll see that it's a check mismatch. And let's see what's going on here. We've got refund to borrower, check 105, has a reference mismatch, but it's for the same amount. So we've got $100.47 across the board, but there's a check number issue. And so now we have to go through and say, all right, what's the issue here? Same payee, same date, same amount, different check number. The suggested resolution from the agent is, let's go ahead and match these as the same transaction and ignore the check number difference, and let's make a note of it. So we're going to go ahead and accept that one. This is an interesting one that it couldn't find anything to reconcile. So it says that you need manual review. So we're going to go ahead and put that in the manual queue and move on. Now recognize that each of these mismatches is a long period of time for somebody to go through it, figure out what's going on, and actually make a decision and commit it to the system. And we're taking that 10-minute activity down to seconds. And so here, this one also looks like we've got a mismatch and the threshold is too big. So we're going to go ahead and add that to the queue. This one looks like we've got service fee issue here, where we've got a $12.55 service fee, but it's not in the cash ledger. So we'll go ahead and accept that resolution. So we'll continue to do this. And obviously, if there are ones that I don't agree with, and I say, well, this isn't making any sense to me, I can go ahead and reject that and add that to the manual queue. And so on all of these, we can just crunch through them, go ahead and accept them or reject them as we see fit. And I'll just run through all the discrepancies rather than pausing here, and I'll show you what the next stage is here. This one is a complex one. We've got 4 or 5 different things, and it went through and said, here's the resolution, and it made the full recommendation on it. And we're going to go ahead and accept that. And so once we've done that, what's going to happen is there's a full detail of what the work is that the AI did, how much of the content it was able to process, how many of the transactions it was able to match. And then we've got the full queue of work that has to still be done manually. So it's not going to eliminate all of the work, but what it's going to do is it's going to take a 10-minute activity, turn it into seconds, or it's going to take a 10-minute activity and figure out how to take that and turn it into a human in the loop activity. So there you have it. Hope that was helpful, and we'll catch you next time.